Millennials, we talk about the importance of the black vote in the upcoming election, even more so black millennials will prove to be crucial in the election. Now, there's a report from the Nielsen Company that supports the fact that African-American millennials can dictate the future of the country because of their mainstream cultural influence in a number of industries. The Nielsen 2016 report, young, connected, and black African-American millennials are driving social change and leading digital advancement. According to the report, black millennials control $162 billion in spending power and are using it to raise awareness of issues facing the black community. Advertisers are taking notice from 2011-2015. Ad dollars in network television focused on black audiences increased by 255%. Joining us is Nielsen Senior Vice President of U.S. Strategic Community Alliances and Consumer Engagement at Triple Business Card, Lord. Cheryl, what's up?
Hi.
All right, let's talk money.
Let's talk money. You know I love talking money.
All right, millennials, what's the deal?
Money. So, millennials, they're kind of like this this museum unique exhibit. We all want to have an opportunity just to kind of touch them, to get to know them a little bit better. And most of us have them in our lives at some point, but we don't know that much about them. And the buzzword right now is millennials. And so there are 83 million millennials in this country right now. And 14% of them are African Americans. So that's about 11.5 million millennials who are black. And they have a lot of power, and we can't ignore that power. So the report this year that we've been releasing every year on black consumers, we actually really focused on black millennials. So as you talked about, millennials as overall have almost $200 billion of buying power. Now I like to say a lot of that money is from my pocketbook, because most of the millennials that I know in my life have none of their own money. They're spending my money. But we can't, disregard the fact that millennials are actually using technology far more than any of the other generations, and particularly more, black millennials are using it more than their millennial peers. So it's important for us to kind of keep in mind, before we roll our eyes at the hashtag campaigns that are going on. Hashtag Oscars So White. We remember that, right? It started in 2015. And when we started that campaign using the millennials hashtag, what we saw was that blacks who were invited to participate in or be nominated in the Oscars were at 8%. 8%. You follow the hashtag campaign, following that hashtag campaign, 46% of those who were nominated were people of color. You can't frink your nose up at those types of numbers. You can't frink your nose up at those types of results, because anyone that moves from 8% to 46% is someone who's actually using their power for good. And that's what I think is really most telling about the millennials.
Tiffany? You one of them, come on.
No, I mean, I have a whole bunch of questions. I mean, this is really important. We've talked a lot about you've been on the show, we talked a lot about the education before of learning about money. I guess what are the important things now in 2017 in the upcoming election, and how young folks are spending their money? What are the important things we need to pay attention to now? And I will say for the record, my parents do not provide for me. All my money is mine.
Well, good for you. So can you call my son and give him a
Of course.
He's a little bit younger on the younger end of the scale, but
No worries.
Just give him a buzz.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think the important thing to know is that millennials influence so many other generations, and they influence their peers, black millennials do, that it's really important to not just disregard the fact that we're talking about black millennials, when actually from a cultural perspective, we're talking about how many other demographic segments are also being impacted by your choices and your influences.
Why is that? Is it because we're cool?
Because you're cool. You're cool.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, okay. You're cool.
Well, some of y'all are cool.
And when you want to emulate people that you think are cool, then you're going to tend to buy the same products that they're buying. And that means that advertisers, if you use millennials and connect with millennials in your ad campaigns, the chances are is that you're going to actually be bringing in other demographic segments.
And you know what that reminds me of is that right after we had Black Friday last year, there were campaigns to say don't buy things on Black Friday because we're going to, either do a disinvestment, or we're going to protest, or we're going to do whatever. And black folks turned out and did not spend their dollars that day.
Yeah.
And now you're just adding evidence and data and facts to tell us that if young black folks actually did want to move things in this country, if we wanted to opt out from buying things, if we wanted to purchase just one thing or whatever it is, that sets the narrative and will make a big impact or dent, right?
Absolutely.
In those prices.
We have power that you cannot understate the importance of what Black millennials bring to the table.
Is all of the power that the Black millennials have commercial? Is it? I thought your question was going to go to the political too. I mean, does the commercial power that they have translate to something beyond the ability to buy and influence the sale of products?
Yeah, well, I think it also has to do with the activism, how we're using activism, and that's why I pointed out the hashtag Oscars So White, right? There was another campaign about hashtag, and I don't know what the exact hashtag was, but supporting Black banks.
Yeah.
And one of the hip hop artists encouraged if every person would just deposit at least $100 into a Black bank, we could make a difference. Well, one bank said that they had 8,000 new deposits, resulting in about $800,000 new dollars.
Hold tight.
There's power in that.
Hold tight 1 second. I gotta go to a break. We'll be back in just one moment on News One now, TV1. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the Nielsen report dealing with millennials and their power. Cheryl Gray, Cheryl got married.
Congratulations!
Okay, first of all, calm down. And that's why y'all see Cheryl Gray. Cheryl, before she was like 4-5 names.
I did.
Cheryl Pearson McNeil. I saw Cheryl Gray. So I was like, what the hell is that? That's why I said Cheryl. And anybody listening, Cheryl. It's like you call folks by their first name on the show. All right then. So Cheryl, about this report.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you impact what a company does. Break that down in terms of how companies are looking at what millennials are saying, especially when it comes to social issues.
Yeah, so companies are looking for ways to connect with consumers all the time. And what they actually want to do is they want to be able to connect with millennials as well. And so understanding where to make those connections is really important because, social media is where most millennials are showing up right now. So I think understanding how to make those connections, where to make those connections is really important. So Facebook is where you're going to find 84% of Black millennials. YouTube, 56% of Black millennials. Google Plus, 55% of Black millennials. And Twitter, 48% of Black millennials. So if you want to find out where to advertise and where to connect, you need to make sure that you're using some of those network sites. Also, mobility is really important for Black millennials. They want to be on the go. They're very connected digitally. 55% say that they spend at least 1 hour or more a day on a social networking site, and 29% say that they spend at least 3 hours or more a day on a social networking site. Now I know you're not
That's the minimum, right?
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time, and they want to make sure that their sites are updated, so they're always online updating their sites. And so, if you're trying to connect with this group, social media is certainly some place that they want to be. But 22%, and this was surprising to me, say that they turn to magazine ads for information on products. 22%. So magazines don't count those out as well. And 33 hours of television they're watching a week.
Okay, 33 hours for millennials, but for African Americans overall, it's what is it now? Is it 40,
so
45?
it's in the 40 hours a week for Blacks overall. But millennials, because people think that millennials aren't watching television at all, they are spending 33 hours a week watching live television. And so you can't discount television as old school when it comes to millennials.
When you say watching live television, does that include what they're watching online?
That means no. When they're watching you right now on their television.
So 33 of that.
33 hours of live TV.
Now, what about...
Not streaming, but they're watching you.
Now, how much time is spent on streaming?
I don't have those numbers with me.
Okay.
And they're probably not tweeting it, but...
And they're also tweeting
At the
and
same
interacting
time.
at the same time. Yes.
Now, what I find very interesting about this generation is they have been extremely proactive in terms of activism. And you look and you mentioned the connection between their activism and their social media presence. One of the things that I saw most disturbing come up recently was the fact that it appears that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, other social media platforms have been in collusion basically with the FBI in terms of letting them know where certain activists are. Do you think that's going to cause some very active millennials to say maybe we should push back on this a little bit?
She can answer that after the break.
Oh, sorry.
Back in 60 seconds. Shirley, you got 20 seconds to answer this question. She asked. That's all you got.
I think the question was, is it going to cause millennials to push back if there's more scrutiny on, and I can't say that more scrutiny on media social sites, and I can't say that there will be. I don't know that. I honestly don't.
Rolling.
All right, but actually you can. Real quick, folks. Gospel artist